This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. Hello all. Good morning and have a good weekend. Uh, just to start, and let me introduce myself. Uh, my name is Rohan Jan, and I've been into TM for more than around 10 years now, and worked upon various kind of integrated modules such as CRM, FI, ECC, PI, and different kind of middleware softwares. Talking about integration backbone tools. Also, apart from that, if we talk about specific versions of TM that I worked on to. I worked on to TM 9.1, 9.5, 9.6, and as well as into various versions of HANA that are available as of now in the market. And I have been privileged to work with certain kind of top line partners like major shipping companies and different kind of logistics player taking care of different kind of TM requirements and the customizing requirement that I have. This is just a brief introduction about myself. I would like to have a brief introduction about you all so that I can get a good chunk of knowledge. Just you can introduce myself with your name and maybe with your experience that you have in a single liner and about something if you do have about the domain knowledge onto logistics or not. Okay, so maybe I can start with the Abhijit. Abhijit, are you able to hear me?
Hey, hi Ron, good morning and good morning
Yeah,
all.
hi Abhijit.
Uh, I'm Abhijit. Total I have 10 years of experience and currently I'm
Mm-hmm.
working in SAP OTC module.
Okay, it's a POTC module. Okay, fine, good. Archana?
Hi Rohan, good morning. This is Archana. I have
Hi.
14 years of experience and currently I'm working as a functional consultant in SAP ATTP module.
Okay, ATTP. Okay.
Thank you.
Ashley? Great, great. No problem, Ashley. That is fine. Uh, so that is good that you are communicating. Karan?
Yeah, hi. I have around 8 years of experience in warehouse management, logistic execution,
Okay,
and started off in TM for about 4 5 months back.
great. No problem. Yeah, Lakshmi?
Yeah, hi everyone, good morning. So myself, Lakshmi, I have like overall 11 years of experience in Oracle TMS space.
Oh, great, great. You still have an exposure into TM. That is good.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, great. Mayur?
Hi Ron, good morning all. I have 4 years of experience in SAP OTC.
Great. Oh, to see.
Yeah.
Muni?
Hello, Rohan. Good morning. Good morning,
Morning.
everyone. This is Muni. I have close to 7 years of experience as a SAP SD consultant. Overall, 10 years experience.
Great, great.
My
Thank you. Uh, sorry,
so,
Muni, your voice is being distorted. I don't know. That is for me only. Can you just repeat the last
so
sentence?
the expectations on this session is I want to learn TM end to end. So
Right, right. Okay. Thank you, Mani. Pritish?
Hi all, good morning. I
Yeah, hi,
have
Pritish.
1 year of experience. I have 1 year of experience as a SAP MM.
Okay, great. You are into MM. Fine. Thank you. Ravi?
Hey, hi all, good morning. So I have total of 7 years of experience in SAP MM, WM and Ariba. So I just wanted to
Okay.
understand the part of TM. So just
TM processes. Okay. That is good. So we have one more candidate joining in. Hi, Anji. Could you please introduce
Hello.
yourself? Yes.
Yeah,
Hello.
hello.
Hi.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. Good
Yeah,
morning.
my name is Anjali, and I do have 4 years of experience into SAP.
Okay, great.
I would like to, yeah, I would like to understand the question as well.
That looks good. Promising. So definitely a very good morning to all of you. And thank you for your introduction. Since most of us are from the SAP background and we still have certain kind of knowledge onto the various processes of the logistics, I'll be definitely be taking you through the kind of things that we are going to cover as a part of curriculum in our curriculum. Okay, so just to talk about something, just to introduce something into the domain, or I would say into the logistics. So you definitely must have seen something called as transportation, and you something must have also heard about logistics. Okay, just I would like to have an understanding what is transportation, or you transport whatever you say, or what is you say as in logistics, or are these two same things, or these two are different things? Any one of you or all of you, you can put in your thoughts and you can come up to me. Okay, something, what would you understand at least? If you do have any, that doesn't has to be a correct answer. Anything that comes into your mind whenever I say something else called as transport, or when I say logistics, anything.
So
Transport is nothing but moving the goods from one place to another place. That means it's a source to destination. So logistic
Okay,
in the sense it's storing the what you can say materials or things, goods, storing in
okay,
the one place.
okay. So logistics is storing the goods at one place, and transportation is actually moving. Okay, Archana, yes, you were trying to say something.
yeah, so for logistics, for logistics, like we do the movements of the goods from one place to another, making
Okay,
use of different means of transportation. And
okay,
it logistics will be like the entire supply chain from source to destination. It will have various other places where you'll be storing the goods until it reaches to a final destination, and we make use of different modes of transportation to continue the supply chain.
that looks promising. Definitely correct. So I believe most of you must be having a similar kind of idea, but most of the people do get confused with these two terms. That is transportation and logistics. Definitely, if I talk about transportation, transportation is simply moving your goods or products from one place to another place by a specific means of communication. It could be a plane, it could be a bus, it could be a car, it could be a train. Okay, as Muni said, and also Archana said on the similar lines. Okay, so that is something is known as your transportation. But when I talk about logistics processes, or if I talk about logistics, it not only includes the transportation, it basically also involves the packaging of a product for storage and shipment. Basically, logistics also involves the integration of complete information flow, starting from the material handling, production, packaging, inventory, security, transportation itself, warehousing, and sometimes, if I talk about in rare cases, just like what we have gone through in the COVID periods, you have also sanitization activities. So various set of activities that are involved in the entire logistics flow, basically various processes. Okay, it comes as in warehouse also, it comes as in transportation also. So there are various processes that gets combined to form the logistics process or a logistics company. So transportation is one of the parameter that you can say in the logistics. So if I talk about logistics, it is nothing but transportation, which is nothing but a subset of logistics process. And to manage that particular transportation, to move the goods from one place to another place, you have various kind of different modules that are there in the ERP space. Okay, so if I talk about various kind of modules, that means We have one of the candidate, I believe it is Ravi, who is in Oracle TMS. Okay, you have various ERP softwares like Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, and all these companies, all these ERP solutions, they do provide their solution in the transportation space, and SAP's TM is one of the solution space that you are having. Okay. So that is something that you should be knowing in. Okay. Okay. So talking about what SAP is, SAP's TM is, it is as simple as you are aware, just like what you have different modules that you are having, and with respect to different SAP modules, you have one of the modules which is catering the space of the logistics queries, that is the transportation queries mainly, and you'll be proceeding with the TM module. And TM is basically a standalone module which takes care of entire end-to-end logistics inbound, outbound processes, and takes care of entire mode of transportation that is covered. Most of the times at the initial point of versions of TM, it was only focused on rail and road mode of transportation, but now you have complete mode of transportations which are covered as in rail, road, air, and ocean. So why to go for SAP TM? Why not to go for any other module? Right? You have Salesforce TM solution, you have Oracle's TM solution, you have Descartes, JDA, Cubics, okay, you have Manhattan's product of TM. So there are many products which are there in the market which are very successful, and I would say more successful in some of the scenarios and cases where you see SAP TM. But why SAP TM? The very first factor that comprises to the successful operation of TM is basically the network that it provides. Most of the solutions that are there in the ERP spaces are being governed by SAP tools, SAP softwares. And if I talk about if a customer thinks to opt for certain kind of a solution in the transportation space, definitely he would opt for certain kind of a solution which he is already using. That is something he'll be looking out in SAP space itself. Okay. Apart from that, definitely this is something is not a mandate part, but definitely this is one of the decision making parameter. Another subject, that is why you would be going for SAP TM. SAP TM provides a wide variety of basically it is an open platform which can be customized based upon the user's request. It is not something that which is focused and developed only for a custom solution or only for a specific kind of a solution. You can model TM in such a way that could fit in with your requirement. Definitely at an overall level, definitely it contains lot many other factors. But if I talk about customized solution, definitely you need to make some custom changes and enhancement in TM in order to fit in your product. Is TM a successful product, which is one of the key thing that most of the people are being buzzing out? Yes, definitely TM is a successful product because lot many companies which are there in the TM space are getting into installing SAP TM, and definitely it provides a very good linkage with other set of modules. Okay, so definitely you do have proper integration, because nowadays integration is one of the key thing that comes into picture. And if I talk about embedded TM, which is already coming into the HANA environment, so most of the integrations are mostly vanished as of now. If you talk about various integration, you will be having a minimal integration if you And talking about the future career aspect, that is, yes, there are a lot many booming time which comes into the TM space, and this time that you're seeing as of now is one of the booming career time period in SAP TM. And over here, definitely you'll be finding lot many career opportunities. Major job concentration of SAP TM is definitely located, if we talk about globally, it is entirely centric towards the Europe region. And if I talk about the concentration of jobs that you see in India, it is mostly concentrated into the Mumbai and as well as in the Bangalore and Chennai regions, which are highly sorted areas for SAP TM jobs. Okay, so with this, I would like you to take you to the kind of contents that I'll be covering as a part of TM curriculum syllabus that we'll be going through. Okay, so let me showcase it to you. the kind of contents that we'll be covering in. We'll see the screen. Okay. So the kind of contents that we'll be going through and covering into TM space would be more or less towards into this area, where we'll be covering end-to-end kind of a thing. Whatever falls into the scope of TM, we'll be covering into TM. Okay, so since most of you are definitely new to TM and you do not have the background of TM, so what I would do is I would start off with our curriculum with the introduction of basic terminologies which are inclined towards logistics world. Okay, so that is something I'll be taking you through, and there are a lot many things that you might not be knowing in that are basically inclined and that are which is basically necessary with respect to TM. So I'll take you through. Apart from that, I'll take you to the different kind of party logistics system that we'll be going through. Okay, so that is 1PL, 2PL, 3PL, up till 5PL. You do have the party logistics system that are there available in the transportation system. Just to highlight you, it will be more or less a couple of sessions or not more than 3 sessions that we'll be spending onto the theoretical aspects. And after that, we'll be spending completely into the system-based demonstration as a real-time system. So it will not be something kind of a theoretical session. It will be mostly a practical-based system session that you'll be having. Then I'll be taking you to the kind of something called as introduction of transportation management as in SAP's transportation management, and how SAP TM got evolved. Basically, if you talk about if you might have heard about something called as LE as a system, SAP's LE. Okay, so how it got evolved from that LE era up till your SAP TM, how it is coming up over this place. I believe you must have at least not even work, doesn't matter. At least you must have heard about the name of SAP LE, right? Logistic execution module.
Yes, Rohan.
Yes. So just to give you one more thumbs up why TM is booming, it is because one of the reason is LE. That is SAP is going to stop supporting LE by 2025. And that is the reason what all customers who are still using LE, they have to migrate to some or the other solution, whether it has to be SAP's TM or be it some other ERP solution scale. Okay, so it has to be in that sense, and the one of the reason is TM booming right now is if at all SAP stop supporting LE by 2025, so people have to take companies have to take step right now to take it forward. So we'll see what all things are there as a part of SAP TM process. Okay, then we'll be going forward. Most of the times you'll be seeing there are different kind of scenarios that are being covered. Okay, so what are these scenarios? And mostly you will be baffled. It is mostly because of two cases the SAP TM is running, or any of the product in transportation management is running. That is a shipper based scenario and a LSP based scenario. Now, to understand what a shipper based scenario is, shipper based scenario is basically a kind of scenario where you have, it is a very simple kind of a scenario, very simple kind of a case where you have one source, one destination, and you'll be completing a journey to move the goods from one place to another place. It could be from a warehousing place to the customer place, or it could be from a production place to the customer place, or it could be something moving the goods from the distribution center to the production place. That is something a very simple kind of a movement to move the goods from one place to another place. For example, if you are a manufacturer, okay, and if you are trying to manage the transportation by your own, so in such cases TM will be installed at your place and you will be monitoring the entire transportation by your own, or you'll be taking care of entire transportation on your own. Okay, so whenever we talk about a shipper scenario case, it is basically a case where a shipper, mostly it could be a manufacturer or a producer, who is using TM at its own area to take care of its shipment. Whereas there could be some set of people or manufacturers who do not want to take care of that shipment. but they would like to outsource it to some other companies which are very well versed in transportation space. Such companies are known as LSPs, like freight forwarders or logistic service providers. What are the logistic service providers? These are basically the companies which are very well versed in transportation processes to move the goods from one place to another place. For example, you are a manufacturer and you do not want to take the overhead of transportation, managing the transportation on your own. If you definitely would be managing on your own transportation, you would be falling into the shipper scenario based case where you are installing TM at your own end. But if you do not want, definitely you can outsource it to some LSP companies. Like, what are these LSP companies? For example, DHL. Okay, DHL, or it is a FedEx or Panalpina or Damco. There are a lot many freight forwarder companies which are working into this space that act as an interface between the customer and the carrier. Okay, so for example, if I do not want to take care of my own shipments, definitely I will be leasing out those processes, those orders to some 3PL company so that they can take care of those orders. And once the orders are completed, probably I'll be just paying them off for the kind of services that I have available. So in some of the cases, this LSP part could be useful because it is totally a management decision to take care of that, whether it will be a good decision to take care of the shipment by your own or it has to be outsourced. Okay, but we will be seeing both of the cases. Okay, so this is how what your team you are going to use. And talking about, if I talk about an LSP case, LSP is broadly used in your ocean and air kind of a cases. Okay, in ocean cases, you have still two different kind of splits, that is LCL and FCL kind of a case. What is an LCL and FCL? LCL is basically a less than container load, and FCL is full container load case. And if I talk about a container, so do you have any idea what a container is, or what? How does it look like? Yes, no?
Yes.
As far as I know, it's a closed space,
Yes, totally. If you
fully
remember,
covered.
Mhm. Even if you remember during your, if you can remember in the movies also, there is something called as, uh, in movies you might see some container yards which are being lifted, containers which are lifted in the container yards, or these are being used. Let me showcase you how a container looks like. So a container basically looks like this one. Can you see this?
Yeah, these are huge
So
boxes stacked on top of each other in the docks, right?
yes,
Huge.
the, these are basically very huge. Yes, so these are basically the containers that I'm talking about. So there are multiple companies which manufacture these containers, and you'll be using these containers, and these containers will be stuck in these kind of container yards or shipping yards or at the port locations basically. And these are transported via such kind of a very big shipping vessels like this. So there will be multiple containers which will be loaded onto the shipping vessel, and then you'll be proceeding with the shipment. So such kind of boxes, not boxes, I would say these are big iron containers that are being used. So if I'm totally occupying the complete container space, that will be termed as your full container load case. If I am basically occupying half or partial space of the container, probably that will be termed as your less than container load case. So we'll see how these things will be different in case of in TM. How would you be manipulating? How you would be proceeding ahead with? Okay. Then to start off with, similarly you have something called as air-based scenario, into which you will be using something called as ULD. Okay. Why we talk about ULD? It is because it is a ULD is basically a unit load device. Okay, definitely I cannot load these big containers onto my air cargo planes, right? Why? Because I definitely do not have that much a kind of a capacity, right? So in the airplane, I cannot load those big things. So what I do use is I use something called as ULD. These are very light-weighted material design, small kind of a boxes, okay, where you'll be loading and packing the goods into the air cargo planes. So these ULDs basically looks like this. If you might have visited airports, or you might have taken a flight, you might have seen these air cargo loads which are loaded into the planes. Okay, so these are basically small shaped kind of ULDs which are of various shape and sizes. These are basically loaded into air cargo spaces like this. So every air cargo will be having a designated space, shape, size, because you cannot take those containers onto the cargo plane, as definitely it is understood, because the container itself are heavier, so you cannot take those containers. To remove those kind of constraints, you have something called as ULDs which are taken into account. Okay, so definitely there are multiple things that you definitely would be seeing in the real-time process if you get into this space, if into the real-time ground level activity that you'll be seeing. So we'll see how such cases are modeled into TM and how these things will be looking into TM area, and you will be able to see what all are different kind of things. Similarly, with respect to this, there is also rail and rail and road kind of a cases which will be somehow will be definitely be covering it, because these will definitely come when you talk about a bigger scenario case. If you talk about an LSP. So within road also you have something called as LTL and FTL cases that will be covering it, and apart from that, we'll also be going through the rail cases. Talking out Talking about the other set of activities, like something called as since we'll be going through different kind of TMECCR integration architecture as an overview, how these boxes are integrated. As of now, not needed if you are working into an S4 HANA system, so this section is completely omitted, but I'll just give you a glimpse that if at all at any point of time, because most of the customers are still using, so you should be having an idea what TMACC integration touch points are, what all areas at least you should be working into. Okay. And as discussed, definitely we'll be going through the entire end-to-end business cycle, starting from the various kind of process from the TM process. Most of you definitely must have been aware about something called as O2C and PTP process, that is order to cash process, and the procure to payment part, which is also used into TM part as slightly apart from SD and other modules. There is one more set of things or sub kind of a process that you will be able to see is called as your lead to agreement part, and also sometimes you'll be able to see if you are working into in some kind of a finance integrated kind of a module, there you'll be able to see the R2R part as well. As of now, definitely you can partially see the R2R because you do not definitely will be having the finance system connected. So you'll be having something called as R2R part that will be taken into account. So most of the times team will be dealing with these few processes in TM space. As a part of architectural view, you do have 6 basic pillars of SAP TM, that is something talking about the master data management, order management, planning, execution, settlement, and last but not least, the cross processes. So if I talk about uh, cross processes, that basically talks about the cross process modules, probably ATM integration. If you are talking about integration with other set of components like EWM, SD, so you have various set of integration or event management, GTS. So there are a lot many things that you should be knowing about. So whatever is there as a part of your TM scope as an integration touch points, I will be definitely be taking care of those. And I'll let you know that these all are the touch points with respect to TM. Apart from that, you do have something which I explicitly be mentioning over here, that is the charge management, which comes as a part of your master data management process itself. Okay, that talks about what a scale is, what a rate table is, calculation sheets, agreements. So however, once we'll be proceeding and getting into the system, I'll take you through all these things so that it will be easier for you to understand what these processes are and how it will be utilized. Then, as discussed, definitely based upon the specific scenario coverage, I'll be taking you through different kind of SAP TM system terms that talks about different kind of terms like forwarding order, freight unit, service orders, freight booking, settlement documents like forwarding settlement, freight settlement. So there are multiple set of documents that will be creating and as a part of your process flow to complete a specific scenario that we'll be picking up and we'll be completing those. Apart from that, there is something called as carrier selection and the tendering process. Now, these are specific from the carrier point of view, which is because definitely at the real time end, the truck driver or a ship or a airplane is basically the one who is actually going to transport your goods. So how I would be picking it up? So there are two sections. That is something called as carrier selection. Carrier selection basically although these two things talks about the same thing, that is picking up a carrier, but how you are picking up a carrier is one of the things. So carrier selection basically talks about a picking up of a carrier or selecting a carrier based upon the available pool of carriers with you, and you are picking up the best carrier based upon the order that you are having. And if I talk about tendering process basically talks about reaching out to the market to pick up the best carrier based upon your order. You might not be only relying on the internal carrier that you are having. Okay, so this is something that definitely you will not be able to see in the system as of now. It will be only possible in the real-time system because it will be easier to showcase over there because you need a lot of ABAP and a lot of other set of processes to set up to do that. But over here, I'll be sharing it with you how things will be working with my real-time documents that I'll be presenting with you, so that you'll be able to identify how things are actually working in the real time with the other set of touch points that I'll be talking about. Last but not the least, this is something I'll be taking care of from the technical point of view. It will not be an extensive session. It will be just a hand-holding session that I'll be taking you through the um, taking you through this technical part of TM, because it is completely taken up by the technical TM team, and most of the sections will be done by the web. So if you're going for functional TM training, you do not need to know and understand these, but it is a good to know kind of a factor if you're working into a real-time environment. Most of the times you'll be interacting with various people. It will be easier for you. So the set of relevant tables, BRF plus, conditions, BOPF architecture. So most of them will be definitely be relating towards your uh, technical team itself. So definite tables and other set of things you will be using in definitely. But other set of aspects like BOPF architecture totally driven by TM technical people and BF plus as well. But we'll see as a part of hand-holding session that what all these things are. At least you should be knowing them. But it is not a mandate thing, at least to have a good hold on this. Then, last but not the least, there is something called as collaboration portal. I believe this is something you do not would be knowing as of now. This is something is a carrier management or carrier integration portal which SAP has given out from an external point of view. It is not a part of TM. I'll be taking it up as a part of some carrier integration portal so that you can see how carriers are being intimated. Most of the companies have their own way of managing a carrier. That is the reason. So SAP has also given out certain tool called as collaboration portal, which you can integrate with it with TM so that any communication that you want to pass on to the carrier can be intimated and carrier can utilize that. So it is simply kind of a web UI portal that uh, that the that the SAP has developed, and where the carriers can simply log in and they can see what all things are necessary and what orders are assigned to them, how the orders could be executed, and they can go with the settlement. So it is a very simplified UI platform that SAP has given. If at all you are actually using it, probably you'll be able to understand it. So, but just to give you a glimpse, I'll be also be showcasing it to you from the real-time environment, that how the collaboration portal basically looks and how it will be proceeding ahead. Okay. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So just to illustrate it to you, so we will be covering the entire TM process and the course close to around it will be a 30-hour duration course that will be covering in, and definitely you can get in touch with Nikita or Pallavi in order to get a specific slot so that we can work upon, and I can get into a specific time slot and I can get in touch with you. Okay, so we can have an initiation and we can proceed accordingly. So let me showcase it to you in the system, that how the system would look like and what all things that you are going to see, and how TM system basically gives you a glimpse. Okay, so since you'll be given out with certain kind of a remote system access that probably Nikita and Pallav will be taking care for the same, and you'll be able to see such kind of a process. I'm just giving you a basic overview on how this system would work like, simply giving out you a very simple part of the shipper scenario process, one of the kind of area where you'll be seeing in. I'll be talking about various set of things also. So to illustrate, definitely let me log in. Okay, so once you log in, definitely you have something called as Fiori UI launchpad. That is something you can connect and you can proceed with. Let me log in as of now. Okay, so basically your process for shipper scenario starts from very simple approach, that is you have a sales order which gets created. Based upon the sales order that you are actually creating in your ECC or in other system, okay, it will be moved into TM system, as in freight unit into TM system. So now to talk about what a freight unit is, you should be understanding as of now it is nothing but an encapsulating the smallest unit that is actually carrying your goods inside this. Okay, it is nothing but a document that contains goods inside it. Okay, based upon this particular freight unit, you would be proceeding with the creation of a freight order. Okay, now what is a freight order, what is a freight unit, what is settlement document? Once we'll be proceeding and getting into the system, you'll be able to see that, and then probably you can go with the settlement creation and other set of objects. Okay, then probably the cycle leads out to the end destination. That is something you'll be getting into the system and you'll be creating the settlement document, that is known as FSD. So just to illustrate how the system works, just to let you know, so let me create a sales order. Okay, let me create it with a certain reference. Okay, so this is something kind of a freight orders, so sales order screen. That is something you'll be receiving, a sales order, standard sales order. You'll be maintaining in, and okay, so you probably will be putting in few of the set of details. As of now, you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 tabs are there, as simple as that. Okay, let me save this. Let me open. Okay, so you have created this kind of a sales order. Okay, now if you would have noticed over here, there is something called as TM status tab, which was earlier not there, but now it is present over here. Okay, how does this thing happen? So for that, you definitely have few configuration thing. There are two things that you should be focusing upon. That is something I'll talk about once we'll be there in the definitely in the session. I'll talk about two configurations that we'll be maintaining. So you need to basically maintain configurations. Okay, so you need to maintain those configs. Based upon those configs, if you are maintaining any, you will be getting this TM status flow. And what this TM status flow talks about, this TM status flow basically is going to generate and transport this particular threat unit into your TM system. That means TM system, you will be able to find out this particular document. What do I mean with this document? Let me, let me copy that. 754. Okay, so no problem, I'll use it. So with respect to this, the moment your sales order gets created, it will be moved into your team system, as in threat unit generation creation will happen. And the same thing you will be able to see in your Fiori application UI over this place. So this Fiori application UI talks about over this place. You'll be having various set of operational activities that you can see over here, talking about starting from the order management, talks about the forwarding order, freight booking, and other set of things. Okay. Post, you'll be it is because of this Fiori tiles that it is very accessible in your mobile devices also. Okay, so you have various kind of things over here. So you, as of now, you can see your freight units over here. What all are the freight units which are there? So I believe, what is the number? You have 754. So maybe I can just filter it out with something called as 754. And I have this particular document which is mentioned over this place. What is this document talking about? You can open this document and you can see there is something called as a freight unit which gets generated over here. Okay, based upon certain things, certain areas, certain things, details that you are maintaining it over here. This particular freight unit has to be planned with certain kind of freight order so that the freight order can be completed when you have a carrier associated to it. So what you can do is you can click onto this document and you can get into the transportation cockpit, where you can find it out your 754. Yeah, I am able to find out. So you have your freight unit which is there. Probably what you can do is you can plan this particular object with a specific kind of a freight order. Okay, so where it is, yeah. Okay, so probably what you can do is you can, most of the times it will be an optimizer which will be running in, so you will be going by an optimizer, but definitely it is a kind of a real-time thing that happens. So as of now, I'm just going with some manual creation by maintaining a specific kind of a location, that is going from this place to this place. And once you create a specific kind of a road order, you can see 555. So definitely it must have been created somewhere over here. So I believe this is the one. Yeah, 555. Okay, so you can select this and you can plan this. Once you select onto this, there is something called as this tab, this part that you are able to see over here. This is for the planning tab. As of now, this is not yet planned. So once I select this particular item, this will be planned. You can see the green tick or the check mark over here, which talks about plan. So once you plan this, you probably can see that this freight unit is actually planned and assigned to a specific freight order. Once I save this, and suppose if I open this, let me open the freight order from this place itself. You can see the freight order is actually created, which is actually containing a specific kind of a freight unit, which is linking up the details of a specific sales order that you have created. So this is something is what you have and how things will be coming in from the ECC to TM system, and this is where the TM system comes into picture. We'll be discussing about lot many other parameters over here and what all details are there. How do you proceed with the real-time execution with the entire process flow? And we'll be talking about the end-to-end thing from the shippers and as well as from the LSP point of view as well. So there are multiple processes that we'll be seeing in. So this is something as would like to sum up and would like to conclude my session for today. So if you do have any kind of questions, if you do have any thoughts with respect to session, definitely get in touch with Pallavi or Nikita. And if you do have some questions for me as of now, maybe definitely you can ask me with respect to the course content, the kind of demo, and the introduction part.
Any projects you are going to explain, Rohan?
Yes. So definitely I'll be giving you, I'll be showcasing it to you with the live scenario. Okay. So the project will be kind of the same thing. The live scenario end-to-end description of the scenario. So it will be nothing but terming as a project one.
Okay.
Ron, one question I have, like, how about this companies are using SAP in India? I mean, in terms of practice, is that all top MNCs have this, or how exactly?
Good question. So very good question. So what happens is in India, if I talk about specifically, um, definitely SAP TM license is a costlier license amongst all other TM solutions. So if I talk about Blue Yonder and Oracle TMS, they are still catching up, but it is licensing cost is more. So whatsoever people can afford, basically you'll wherever you'll there you'll be seeing these. So if I talk about from an MNC's perspective, yes, definitely they have the capability to invest heavily into SAP TM. So you will be able to see mostly in the MNCs or large group companies, or I would say global companies, there you'll be having this. Mostly if I talk about smaller companies, they might not go for SAP TM, but they will be going for regional based solution or any kind of ERP based solution that they are having. Probably they can go for that. Okay, so that totally depends on the budget that you are having and willingness, because TM, even after you have purchase even if you purchase a license, you have to model it according to your business process only, right? So you have to take care of the customization part over there as well. So that is something has to be taken into account.
Rohan, Sagar this side.
Hi Sagar.
Rohan, actually, I have total 4 years of experience, and I was in Oracle SCM before this, and now I'm changing my domain to SAP. So, in my current company, I have two options to select, whether SAP SD or SAP TM. So, I am a bit confused to which domain I should select. As I have supply chain background, so SD process I know, but I have also option to join SAP TM. So could you please guide or give some overview how
Okay.
it will be good,
So
which
how
domain
much
to select?
comfortable are you with Oracle SCM process that you have worked upon up till now?
That was a PeopleSoft. Mm, okay,
Okay.
so
It was
yeah.
mostly towards your UI related things only, or you have configured also something in Oracle?
Uh, Actually, in that technical thing also it is there, people code. So configuration part and technical thing are both in that. It is only one person is working on that. So
Right. So that could be something that it might not be requiring multiple people. So since you are
yeah, yeah.
new to TM, or I would say TM, since you still have the domain knowledge you have, you can still go for TM, opting a TM, considering today's situation, because the market is very hot with TM. Okay, so you can at least get a good jump, because the people there in SD are, you'll be finding a lot many people in SD and MM. Okay, and TM being the niche area, it will be curving your path, definitely your career path. So considering the career path, definitely you should go with the TM. But SD definitely you'll be finding a lot many people around. They can help you learning it a lot. So from that perspective, definitely you can go with SD also. So it is totally your call, I think, to take a decision that which area to get into. But I would say and recommend if you are based upon your previous experience into Oracle, if it is not that much good, probably you should go with something into SD, because you'll be finding a lot many colleagues. They might help you in building your base, give you the confidence from the configuration point of view as well, from the user point of view as well, and then probably you can move to TM, no problem. If you're good with configuration, other set of business processes like O to C and other set of process and writing the FS, probably I would definitely say you should go with TM straight away, because the user
No,
interface.
no. I've not that much work on that configuration part in SAP so far. So
No problem. I think you should opt for SD then. No problem. You'll be
mhm.
having a lot many colleagues which can help you out at least. Because in team, you will not even find something in Google. And eventually in the real time also, you'll not find not many people who are very well versed in TM to guide you at least. That is the reason. Okay. So do we have any other questions to be picked up? Any doubts, questions?
Hi Rohan, British here. Uh, Actually, I have 1 year of experience as a SAP MM. So I want to learn the new things. Means I want to learn the TM also. But how means difficult to learn this TM, and how difficult to work on real time scenario in company on project.
Challenge only comes where you do not find much people. Okay, so if you have some new module coming in into picture and you do not find any colleagues supporting you, definitely that subject becomes difficult. Okay, that is the only reason. So most of the companies people are still growing with, because TM is a very new module. It is only a decade back when TM picked up its scope, 10 years 11 years back only, when TM 9.1 came into market. So people are still learning, people are still growing, so you can take an advantage of that as well. You are also learning, or there could be a
Okay.
case that you can still take time and proceed ahead. But I would suggest, since it is a growing time of TM itself, so you can leverage and take an advantage of this and build and get into the same flow. You'll
Okay.
be able to catch up, because everybody will be in the same boat in of learning. So
Yeah.
you'll be knowing something, they'll be knowing something. There'll be nothing kind of saturated people, and you are just a newborn child over there. So there will be nothing kind of that over there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I believe then probably what we can do is we can close the session and let Nikita. If you do have any doubts and clarification, do get in touch with Nikita for the further process and further related uh, objectives. And definitely you can get in touch with me if you are definitely available. So best of luck. Have a good weekend and stay safe. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, Nikita, and thank you for the participants as
Thank
well.
you, everyone. Thank you, Rohan. So we will close the session now, and we'll get back to you with respective BREs. Thank you.
Sure, definitely, definitely.